The market is shifting. How is this affecting our buyers and sellers? Stay tuned.
This is Real Generational Wealth. Live from Southern California, this is Abby, Espy, and Jen.
Hello, ladies. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. So how's everyone doing?
Everyone's
Pretty
doing well.
good.
I'm doing good. I'm
Yeah.
here at my new office.
It's
I moved
beautiful.
out of
Congratulations, Jen.
Woodland Hills. I
Yeah.
have a pretty view of
Nice
this
view.
apartment building and like their pool, so it's kind of nice.
It's pretty though. There's a lot of trees and then you have the building. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a change of scenery. basically. How are you, ladies? How are you all doing today?
Very good. I'm getting
good.
ready for my golden anniversary for high school tomorrow.
Wow.
What's a golden anniversary?
50 years.
Wow.
That's exciting.
Yeah. Since
Is
high
it going to be
school.
here in LA or
It's
are you
going to be in
traveling?
Las Vegas. I'm going to 4 days there.
Even nicer? Awesome. Well, everybody, welcome back to Real Generational Wealth, where we have over 50 years of combined experience making sure you and your family always have a place to call home. Today, we are excited to talk to you about the shifting market. It's affecting both buyers and sellers, and so we want to answer all your questions as to what's next. If you're catching us live, be sure to hashtag live in the comments, and if you're catching the replay, hashtag replay. So, Abby, I know you are in the Inland Empire. How much of this shift are you guys feeling? And let's just talk about buyers for now.
Okay, so I'm just using personal or my experience with my buyers. We've been looking in places like Lake Elsinore or Murrieta with sales price below 600,000, and I've been getting my first offer as my first acceptance. So usually the first offer that we submit, we're getting it accepted. So before, it used to be really hard to get just a call back from sellers agents, right? Now it's like, yay, everyone's calling us back, and then what I'm seeing a lot, the homes that we're getting, more than half of them are homes that used to be pending. So they were pending, they already accepted another offer from a different buyer, and then they came back on the market because the interest rates went up so quickly that their buyers are not able to qualify any longer. Like the interest rates, if they had their pre-approval from the beginning of the year, it was probably 3%. And they just didn't get to update it. And now we're at 5.5%. So I'm not
Just
seeing.
to repeat that for those of you watching, interest rates at the beginning of the year were at 3%. You were probably still getting 2.99, and in just a few short months, we've jumped up 2.5 points. And in the history of real estate, we actually have never jumped that much in that short of time.
Yeah.
That's true. It hasn't been at 5.5% since 2008.
Mm-hmm.
So they're really trying to curtail the hot market, but at the same time, it's like people that were waiting on the sidelines or they were on the fence about buying a home. Now they're really priced out because the cost of borrowing has gone up so much.
Mm-hmm.
I had a borrower, I think they were qualified for 1.2 at the beginning of the year, and now their max purchase price is only $950.
And that just shows, what you can do.
Exactly.
You can have them. Well, I don't know if they're doing 30-year fixed or an ARM.
Yeah, I pushed them into an ARM, but I mean, like that's we can talk about that later. But I mean, just to give the viewers kind of an idea, you know what I mean, how these rates have basically affected buyers.
Yeah. Well, there are different programs out there that's being used, and in fact, I think last meeting that we had, I mentioned about seller carry. So there's going to be more and more of that seller carry back.
What I'm seeing seller carry back is in Big Bear. So right now, Big Bear has a high inventory and they have homes just sitting on the market. Big Bear is a resort community. If you want to buy a second home or vacation home, you only need 10% down. You can buy something in Big Bear. But now the homes are just sitting on the market for months. So with that, the home prices might go down.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as far as the interest rates go, right now we're around 5.5%. But I try to encourage my buyers. Well, not I don't encourage them, but I try to give them all the options. They can do
Of course.
something called a 5-5. So 5-5 is an arm that's fixed for the first 5 years. Right now, the quote that we got, personally, when we tried to apply for a loan on a second home, three, it's 2.99% for the first five
First
years,
five
and then
years.
it goes up 1% the next 5 years. So you're still below 5.5% for
So
10
what
years.
is your lifetime cap?
The
What is that?
lifetime cap is 6%.
Okay,
So
yeah,
it's
that's
not.
usually
It's a really good
that's usual.
product. Not
Mm.
not a lot of
Mhm.
not a lot of lenders have it, but credit unions. I always do my research on credit unions, and actually, the credit union that we keep our money with offers that.
Mhm.
So
I
that's an
actually
option.
had yeah, no, I mean those are all, that's the thing. You're right. Our job though is to present any and all alternatives, right? So that our
Yeah.
buyers can get the homes they want in the way that they want that works for
Mhm.
them. I also spoke to one of our lenders at a credit union. He came and he showed us, he actually came yesterday to our team meeting and talked to us about different ARMs. For those of you watching, ARMS stands for adjustable rate mortgage. I know it has such a bad stigma, especially from, the early
In a while.
2000s. Yeah, right before the market crashed, but
Mhm.
the difference between ARMS today and ARMS back then is you have a cap. That's probably one of the biggest things that like
There's more
SB said.
safety. They're
Yes,
using a safer index.
exactly. And yes, I know it sounds scary that your mortgage rate will change after 5 years, or if you do a 7-1 ARM after 7 years, but the goal is always to refinance, and it's one way to battle these rising interest rates overall.
And you
That's
can
one way of doing it.
refinance into a 15-year mortgage. A 15-year loan is less riskier than a 30-year fixed. So if you do 15 years, it's usually like 2.99% as well, because it's only a 15-year loan. But there's a lot of options out there. I know people are just discouraged. They're like, "Oh my gosh, my interest rate is like 6% if I want to get closing costs covered." But as agents, we're here to present you with all the options. We're not here to decide for you, but to educate you on the different choices that you can make, including your loan.
Right.
Mhm. So there's different ways of, before when I used to sell loans, there are different programs. There's graduated mortgage, the GPM, there's the adjustable, there's biweekly, there's a 40-year loan.
Wow.
So now they're going to start coming up with that because
Yep.
Yes.
we are so stuck with the 30-year and the 15-year. But actually the reason why we have those amortizations is for the affordability,
Right.
because technically the reason why we came up with the 5-year, 7-year, and the 10-year is because statistically people move on the first 5-year for the first
Yes,
home,
that's true.
usually 7-year for the second home, and then usually 10-year when they have to move from one place to another for job. you know so that's basically the reason why.
Yeah.
That's
um
true. I
mhm,
mean, we're also in a correction. Like the
mhm.
government is trying to correct or curtail inflation. So that's why they increase the interest rates so much. But we haven't been at these kind of interest rates, for a long
A very
time.
long time.
So
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
But I mean
yeah,
that's
we just have to cope with whatever we have right now,
but I mean
yeah,
that's
so
in
not
it'll
housing.
go back
it will.
down, I think.
Yeah, it will. I mean, when we don't have a crystal ball, we don't know, but
In the
Yeah.
next 10 years it should. I mean,
Mhm.
historically it fluctuates, right?
right.
Because it hasn't been since 2008 since we had 5.5% interest rates.
Right.
Mhm.
So
But
Yeah, for
even with the
those who
high
have
interest rates,
yeah,
there's no reason to get discouraged, right? Because
yeah.
on the flip side of that, to piggyback off of what Abby was saying, was that you are seeing more homes on the market. Here
Mhm.
in LA County, before I used to, if I was showing a buyer properties for a weekend, it was like one or two, right? And now I can at least get 5 or 6 together,
Yeah,
in,
there's more
in a day.
choices.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you've got a little bit more choices.
Mhm.
You have homes sitting for a little bit longer. Before things used to fly within 3 days. It's like if you
Yeah,
didn't get in on that first weekend, sorry, you missed out. But
Mhm.
now, like, hey, if you don't get the first weekend, you can probably get something like the next week, probably even the second weekend. Um, things are sitting just a little bit longer now, giving buyers a little bit more edge. I before we wouldn't even get a call back, like Abby said, we wouldn't even get a counter.
Mhm.
We It's
yeah,
just like, sorry, you didn't make the cut. And but
yeah.
now
Mhm.
now I'm getting multiple counters. I'm getting single counters. Like I haven't seen a single counter in years. It's always
Mhm.
been
Oh yeah,
multiple
I'm
counters.
getting those too. That's what I get, the single or just a seller counter offer, the SEO, not the SMCO.
Right.
So the seller multiple counter offer that we're used to.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just nice to see that. It's like, okay, then we can keep the appraisal contingency since you
Yeah.
guys don't have any other buyers. We'll keep the appraisal contingency. We don't have to, we don't
Completely
have to
waive
remove
everything anymore.
termite. Yes, we can leave all our terms
Yeah,
there.
because
Then
the market is still stable anyway on the pricing. But have you heard about, are you familiar with the 80-10-10?
yes,
Yeah,
two mortgages, right? You're gonna
right.
carry two mortgages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you
So
tell us a little bit about that?
yeah, so for instance, right now, okay, we have an issue about the capital gains. Sellers hate that they have to pay the capital gains. And meanwhile, for the last 10 years, they have a whopping equity, right? And they don't want to share too much of that equity. So one way of doing it is that if they carry 10%, let's say your borrower has only 10% down payment. So for them not to have the 10%, the PMI, then your seller can carry 10% or 20%, and then their loan would be 80 to 70 loan to value,
With no PMI.
you
Yeah.
know, with no PMI. So you are removing PMI. You don't have to deal with underwriting with PMI. Okay, your FICO score can be even better because the when you have a little bit of less than 620, you can't get a mortgage, the conventional loan, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So now with this on the seller side, it's also good because then if he's gonna carry 10% or 20% of the loan, he doesn't have to pay capital gains on that. The only thing that he has to pay capital gains is the money that goes to his hand.
True.
You know,
That's a good hack.
so yeah, and he's safe because right now the market is stable. So before, when you carry a second, it's very risky for the seller because if the equity goes down, then being in the second place, he can lose his money, right?
Right.
But this time, because the market is the market is still stable, we still have, statistically, we still have a high demand for homes, you know, the seller would be in an advantage to carry.
Right.
Yeah. But you need to have an agent who knows how to present that financing to the seller. Is very important, you
Right.
know. Because if your agent knows how to talk to the lender on how to do the subordination and also the seller, then you can get a good deal.
That's a
No,
good
so not
hack,
the 80
SB.
10 10 or 80-20 80-20-10 70-20-10. Yeah.
There's also that 10% down payment assistance that the
Yes.
government is giving out. A lot of people are asking about that. They're like, "Oh, we can have a free down payment,"
That's
but
income sensitive
Yes.
yeah,
to
The
qualify.
what is it?
caveats. The caveat
Yes,
to that
there's a
is you have to make
catch.
like, what is it, 80%
You have to make
below
below 80% of the
the median
median
income.
income. So
Right.
for instance, in Los Angeles, it's 68,000. But what can you buy? What price range can you buy with, a $68,000 salary, a year salary with no debt? 300,000.
Yep.
In Los
Abby, that
Angeles
is
County,
only
it
for
That
doesn't
doesn't
exist.
exist in
individual.
LA County.
That is
Yeah.
only per individual. So if they have 6 kids, their income can be a little higher. It can be
Yes,
over
the income can
100,000.
be a little higher, but
Yeah.
you still, it's like you have to be below 80%. And I ran into that, a lot of people wanting to do that, and we just can't find homes
Yeah.
in their price range. It's
Yeah.
really hard to find that balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the like if somebody does qualify, like how much house can they buy, like, it never it never kind of balances out. So
Right.
I don't know who wrote that. I think they knew what they were doing, that nobody's going to qualify. But I don't know if they just did that to get people excited
I think so.
about that program. It's
It doesn't make
terrible.
sense. Overall, it doesn't make sense, but I think it was a way to, again, to keep buyer faith and buyer hope still alive, right? Because these rising interest rates, a lot of buyers are just like, all right, well, I'm priced out. I can't do this anymore. But again, there are
Well,
many alternatives.
I would disagree with that, ladies, because LA County is huge. You can go to Lancaster and still
You can
LA
go to
County.
Antelope Valley, yes,
Yes.
but
Yeah,
even there, the prices are around 400,
400.
500,000. Someone looking
Yeah.
in Los Angeles, they wouldn't look in. I try to get my buyers to go to Palmdale. I love selling houses in Palmdale, but they're like,
Mhm.
no way. Even though I sold a couple over there, it's so hard going down the 14, going to work
Yeah.
in Orange County, or South Los Angeles County. It's pretty far.
I
So
mean, it makes sense, obviously, for people who are working from home, but that trek
Yeah.
is a drive. Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a long drive,
Not
like a
unless
two
they
and a
move
half
there
hours.
and work there too.
True. True.
You
That's
know,
true. Yes, the
because they're
ones
developing. It's amazing. I went there and I saw how developed Lancaster is. They have hospitals.
Lancaster and Palmdale, the
Yeah.
new homes there are really nice. And
Uh-huh.
Palmdale, the ones that I sold there, they have a pool and solar panels. And my
Yeah.
buyers ended up getting Teslas because they were
Hmm.
so far removed from everywhere else. But I mean, it's beautiful. You can get a beautiful home in
Hmm.
Palmdale for like 500,000.
Yeah.
Home with the pool, updated.
Well, lately I've been doing the income properties, like the assisted living. And there was a listing for 350,000, 3 bedroom, 2 bath in Lancaster, including
Oh,
that includes already the business.
oh wow.
Wow, that's really good.
That's actually
So
really good.
they
I
can
know.
qualify for that program. That's
Huh?
why you're saying that. They can do that 10% down payment assistance and get
Yeah.
your get that home.
Yeah. Actually, if you do an SBA loan, not a regular residential home, you can do 10% down, and that includes the
Oh,
business too. Yeah.
oh, that's
Yeah.
good to know.
Uh-huh.
I never knew that.
Yeah. Yeah. So now that our business is starting to soften up, and I was looking at investment properties for clients, and especially there is a big demand right now for senior housing. So the RCFE licensing that I just got last month, I started showing properties that are for assisted living. People can
And
live on the house and then at the same time have a business, and
generate
increase that
income.
value and make like $10,000 to $20,000 a month.
That's
That's
awesome.
smart.
That is
I
Yeah.
smart.
mean,
Hmm.
lately, I mean, the market is softening up a little bit because of the interest rates. So, I mean, I've been looking for property for us, like
Hmm.
for
For investment.
investment properties or vacation homes. We were
Yeah, you're
looking at,
doing the short term. How do you call that? Short term rentals.
Short-term rental.
yeah, the STRs.
Yeah.
First, we were looking in Hawaii, in Honolulu, and then they banned all short-term rentals in Honolulu because I
Mhm.
used to live there, so
Yeah.
I know the area really well.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, the market is softening up a little bit, but a lot of people are seeing things in the media like home prices are going down. No, it's not.
No.
It's not. Like
No.
so if there's a lot of millennials that are waiting for a bubble or for prices to go down, not just millennials, like other people kind of
Buyers.
sitting on the sidelines. One of the components for home prices to go down is supply. We still lack enough
Yeah.
supply for,
There's still
especially in
high
Southern
demand.
California. Yeah, there
Mhm.
needs to be like a surplus of homes versus buyers. But right now, with the rental markets being so high, it increases the home prices too. That's part of the reasons why they're trying to do away with short-term rentals, because it increases home values too much. for 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 neighbors and yeah,
I mean, that's
kind
but
of distract.
that's the thing, right? So with all this, with the rising interest rates and then the home
Uh,
sitting a little bit longer, it's not just affecting buyers, it's affecting the sellers, right? And so, but that's the thing, if sellers are well educated enough to know, if you price your property well, your property will still sell. Your property will still, well, I mean, obviously your agent has to advise you on that, right? But pricing a property correctly is obviously the biggest factor of making sure that it sells quickly. You know, you have a lot of sellers who are like, well, my house is the best house on the block and I want 1.2 when the block only calls for a million, you know, and
Hmm.
yeah.
you have to be reasonable. Otherwise you're going to be sitting on the market. You're going to be sitting on the market. And your value is going to be going down. You're going to have to end up chasing the market down. So
Mhm.
there's still a lot of movement. It's
Yeah.
just obviously playing it well or playing it correctly with the market.
That's true. You don't want your home to go stale, and then I mean, right now it's the prime time to sell your home is before July and August, right? Once you get into August and school starts for all the kids, then the market kind of slows down a little bit because everyone's in school already and you don't have that buyer pool of parents who are aggressive buyers and they're motivated by the school districts. You don't have them in the market at that time. So it is, if you're a seller right now, it would be good to put your home on the market right now and price it well, because by the time we get into fall of this year, i I think there's going to be like a bit of a backup in the market. Like if your home's not updated or it backs into like an airport or a railroad, you might have a hard time
Selling
selling
it.
your home. Like it might
Yeah.
sit on the market for a little while.
Yeah.
So that's
Well,
just
I want
something.
to mention something today, anyway, while we were having this meeting, because, yeah, at 6 o'clock, I'm going to have the county assessor of LA as a guest on my next webinar and live here in Facebook. And it is an address to especially those baby boomers who owns home from the last 20, 30 years, you know, because Prop 19 2 years ago was passed, and this is hybrid or of the old Prop 6090 that I used to do a workshop on. So if you're a seller right now and you have lived in your property for a long time and you're over 55 years old, Prop 19 is really good for you, and for you to transition to the next home, whether you're moving up or you're moving down. As long as you move here in California, you can take your property tax that you're paying right now and with you, and the tax base you can use to the next house that you are buying, you
Okay.
know?
So does that work even if the, let's say the next house is a new construction and then it has Mello-Roos and the tax rate is 2%?
Yeah, so there's going to be adjustments on it, you know. Yeah, that's one thing that I want to ask our the county assessor, if there is Melrose, how does that play? Because if they can just bring their property tax and then it's a lot less, plus on top of that you have the Melrose, you're still saving money, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a lot of savings. So whether you're buying $1 million home or buying up or down, you can still make use of your property tax, the Prop 19,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
And
that's a huge benefit.
yeah, so just to give a quick example of that, if your home, you bought it for $16,000 years ago, and now your property tax, you're only paying like maybe $2,000 a year. So if you move to a new house, let's say in Santa Clarita, and pay $500,000 on a single family home, one level, your property tax that you're paying now is what you take with you. So instead of $10,000 property tax a year, you have $2,000 property tax that you start with, and you can do it 3 times. That's a good thing about this Prop 19 is you can do it 3 times. So if you're 55 and you want to move up, to your dream home, you can take that with you. And if you want to move down later when you're 65 or so, you can take it with you again. And if you want to move in a little condo or a studio when you're 80 years old, you can take that with you too.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
So three
that's a
times.
huge, that's huge because a lot of I know that affordability is tough for
Yeah.
people that are 55 and over, and
Mhm.
being able to qualify for like $1 million home, if the property tax is 20,000, that really affects your affordability. Yeah,
It's a
it
lot of
affects your
money.
monthly
Yeah.
payment when they
Right.
calculate your debt to income ratio.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of homeowners who are hesitant to move out from their home because, oh, I cannot afford the property tax. This house is paid in full. So you can move to another house, pay it in full, and take your tax base. And you can still make money on that next house, and it's newer. You don't have to deal with
Nicer.
all the repairs, right? More suitable too.
Yeah.
So that's what I promote in retiring style.
That's another good hack, SB. So you have that 80-10-10, and then you have that Prop 19 that
Yeah.
you can offer to your clients.
Yeah. And now I'm doing the assisted living thing. So if you are a baby boomer and you want to transition, I can transition you to, let's say, a newer single family home, and you know, you can convert that into an assisted living. So that's what they were saying. There's a RAL Academy. They say if you do that, then later on, when it's time for you to be taken care of, you can stay in your home, stay in place, have two clients there, just have two residents, and you're the boss.
That's cool. It's like a form of house hacking.
Yeah, that's a good house hack. I mean, like all three of us, we all do real estate, right? Like Jen, what's your other niche? Because I'm feeling like your other niche is super luxury homes,
Yeah.
right? Like 10
Probably.
million,
Yeah.
around 10 million.
Yeah, I mean, I do deal with a lot of the ultra luxury homes, and that
Mhm,
that market kind of never really changes, right? That
mhm,
that tends to, I mean, homes, especially like in the hills, they
mhm.
values tend to stay the same. They keep value even when markets soften. So
Mhm.
that's that's kind of its thing. I mean, it's just it stays unaffected essentially.
Yeah, and the niche is a different kind of breed. The people who buy and invest or live on those, it's a different kind of client,
Right.
you know.
True.
So that's another niche.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of times you don't get to meet the buyer, right? You meet the business manager.
Yeah. Business manager is the one who usually handles the whole transaction from beginning to end.
Hmm.
I mean, maybe the buyer will come and view the property once or twice, but otherwise, business manager takes over everything from beginning to end. Um, and so many other boxes have to check off
Hmm.
for their business manager and their CPA and all this other
Hmm.
stuff. And then that's typically when they'll decide whether they do actually want it or not.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
I mean, I've had somewhere I'd had to sign like an NDA just
yeah,
hmm,
to show someone a house. It was like, are you
yeah.
serious? Like, it's like I'm not gonna look at them. I didn't even recognize the names.
yeah,
But
Hmm. Hmm.
um, yeah, I guess that's a different market. I mean, the reason why I mentioned that, like, one of the niches that I've been working in is Airbnbs. So people looking to buy Airbnbs, that's, I mean, it's so much fun,
Hmm.
especially in Big Bear. I like, me and my husband are looking in Big Bear and Hawaii. Also, Palm Springs is a good place to buy an Airbnb, or
Hmm.
Joshua Tree. I
Hmm.
know you have an Airbnb, Jen, or it's
Yeah.
I'm in La
short-term rental,
Quinta.
right?
Yeah, I'm in La Quinta, about 20 minutes east of Palm Springs, and it's doing great. It's you know what I mean. Like it's constant. I have not been vacant since fall of last year,
Hmm.
and it's
Wow.
just constantly being rented. People always want to be. So I guess the biggest key to finding an Airbnb is making sure you're in a great spot that's always wanted all year long, right?
Yeah.
Because some places that they are best in the winter, some places are just better in the summer. But I
Yeah,
think
that's
the
true.
most important is you got to find something that is viable all year long.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, we were looking in Hawaii. Um, oh, see, Tamra bought in Palm Desert, and it was the best rental. A lot of people go to. I think Palm Springs is one of those cities where it's good year round.
Yeah,
Big Bear is great during winter, but if you don't get something by the lake, I think it's not going to be occupied as often.
yeah.
Um,
During the summer.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's just something else to look into. If you guys are looking to buy a home, I mean, we can help you buy Airbnbs as well. Something that's a potential Airbnb. So
Another
Mm-hmm.
house hack.
Mm-hmm.
another
Yeah.
house hack. Yeah, you gotta you gotta diversify your
Yeah.
portfolio or income producing
Mm-hmm.
another income stream, right? Like we have a for us personally, we have an investment property, but I wanted to do an Airbnb, um, an Airbnb just for like something that's our vacation home and something that can earn us more money. Because an investment property, when you have a rental, it doesn't. You're just like breaking even, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so
Mhm.
yeah,
But
like
to
for us,
recap it, all these things that we're talking about, we have to make sure that if you want to do investment, whether it's an Airbnb, assisted living, or invest other different investment properties out of the area, you have to make sure that whoever is helping you really knows that market, that particular
Yes,
market, and you have to
100%.
study it to yourself. You
Yeah.
really have to make sure that it is something that you really want to do. Because it's
that's
not like buying at Nordstrom or Macy's, you're gonna return it. It's not easy to return a property
That's
that you just
true.
bought.
Yeah, you have to do your due diligence and review the occupancy rate, or if it's currently being used as a vacation property, make sure you have a schedule of their occupancy or
Yeah.
just the money that they've generated for the year. So there's a lot of different things you have to do just to make sure you're covered because we don't know what's going to happen, right? We don't know what's going to happen the rest of the
Mhm,
year.
mhm.
But
I think ultimately, regardless of what happens, real estate still continues to be the best
Yeah,
yes,
tangible investment, right? That you can
yeah,
make.
in so many generations.
Exactly. Over time,
Yeah.
it always
Hmm. That.
appreciates,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I know a lot of people are in crypto and the stock market, but that's so volatile, right? And so over
Hmm.
time, real estate's one of the best tangible investments someone can
Yeah.
make.
oh,
Hmm.
so true.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Okay.
I guess that wraps up our show for today.
Thank
So
you.
again, if you guys are interested in buying or selling, contact any one of us. We'd
Yeah.
love to help you, show you all your alternatives, sorry, to these
Yeah.
rising interest rates.
You
Until
can
next
always
time,
just message us. That's all you can do.
definitely.
You don't need to remember our number. Just remember our face and our webinar, our live stream.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Thank
Until
you.
then, we will see you guys in 2 weeks. Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.